Ever had those days where it feels like you're, I don't know, just completely out of sync with people?
Oh, definitely. Like you're speaking different languages almost.
Exactly. Where you feel like you're surrounded by people who just don't get it,
Yeah.
or they act in ways that are just baffling.
Yeah, totally baffling.
Well, what if, and this is what our source today suggests, those people aren't actually idiots? What if they're just operating from a different behavioral playbook?
Hmm. A different playbook. I like that.
And the trick is just learning how to read it. So today we're doing a deep dive into Thomas Erikson's book, Surrounded by Idiots.
It's a bestseller for a reason, right? Really struck a chord.
It really did. Our mission is to unpack this pretty revolutionary system for understanding how people communicate and behave.
Mm.
It's called the DISC method.
Right, DISC. We'll get into what that stands for.
We will. We'll explore why people are so different, what drives them, and most importantly, how you can use this as a kind of shortcut.
A shortcut to smoother interactions, less frustration.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Making things easier, more effective. And all our insights today, they're drawn straight from Erikson's book, which, like you said, has helped tons of people figure out human interaction.
Okay, sounds good. Where do we start? The origin.
Yeah, let's unpack the origin story. It's actually pretty fascinating. So this DISC method, it's a big global thing now, right?
Huge. Used in businesses everywhere.
But it started with this really simple, almost kind of quaint question from a guy named Bill Bonstetter. He wondered if a salesperson could sell more farm seed just by, like, looking at a farm.
Just by observation. That's
Hmm.
interesting. Seems basic, but profound.
Right. And his son, David Bonstetter, he actually wrote the foreword to Erikson's book.
Yeah.
He took that idea and really ran with it.
Ah, okay. So, father and son.
Yeah, they worked together, and David developed software back in 1984 specifically to analyze human behavior.
Wow, 84. So this isn't exactly new then. It's been refined.
Exactly. From looking at farms to, a system for understanding people worldwide. Pretty cool leap.
Definitely. So how does the idiots part come in?
Okay, so this is where it gets really juicy. David Bonstetter tells this story about a successful entrepreneur, Sture.
Sure, got it.
Brilliant guy, by all accounts. But he was totally convinced he was surrounded by idiots in his own company.
Oh boy, I think we've all met a stir, or maybe even been a stir on a bad day.
Probably true. He'd call his employees things like arrogant windbags or tedious blockheads.
Ouch. Why though?
Because, and this is the key insight, they just didn't think or act exactly like him.
The classic trap. Comparing everyone to yourself. Using yourself as the gold standard.
Precisely. He was his own benchmark for what was normal or smart. Which leads to a really fundamental point Erikson makes.
Which is?
Well, it's that communication. It really happens entirely on the listener's terms.
That's a big one. Say more about that.
Everything you say, right? Your intentions, your carefully chosen words, it all gets filtered through their frame of reference, their biases, their ideas, their mood that day.
Everything. So you have very little control, actually, over how your message is truly received or understood.
Yeah, it feels a bit unsettling, doesn't it? Like you're just throwing words out there and hoping for the best.
It can feel that way, but it also means there's an opportunity, right? If you know this.
Then you can adjust your style.
Exactly. Flexibility. Trying to understand and interpret what the other person needs to hear or how they need to hear it. That's what makes someone a good communicator.
Not just being eloquent, but being adaptable. Creating a sort of safe space for understanding.
Yeah, I like that. A safe space instead of just broadcasting and assuming it lands.
But adapting all the time, doesn't that get exhausting? Like, am I losing myself if I'm always trying to talk their language?
That's a fair question, but Erikson frames it more as skill, not sacrificing your identity. He uses this great analogy. He says behavior patterns are like a toolbox.
A toolbox, okay.
You've got different tools for different jobs. A sledgehammer is brilliant for knocking down a wall.
Sure, very effective.
But you wouldn't use it to hang a picture.
Definitely not. Bad idea.
Right. So all the tools, all behavior types are necessary. They all have value. But you need the right tool for the right occasion.
So it's about appropriateness, not inherent goodness or badness.
Precisely. The book says it clearly. No pattern of behavior is right or wrong. You're fine no matter how you're wired.
You're fine no matter how you're wired. That's quite reassuring, actually.
It is. It's about using your wiring effectively, understanding others' wiring, not judging it.
Okay, but here's a question. If no pattern is wrong, how do we handle genuinely bad behavior? Like, where's the line between understanding someone's color and just letting them off the hook for being, well, a jerk?
Yeah, that's the critical nuance. The system isn't meant to excuse bad behavior. It's meant to help explain it.
Explain, not excuse. Okay.
When you understand the underlying drives, why a red might be overly blunt or why a green might avoid conflict, you can address the impact of their behavior more effectively.
So instead of just reacting with, you're being aggressive, to a red.
You might understand their drive for efficiency, but still say, look, when you say it like that, it shuts people down. We need a different approach. It gives you a framework for accountability that they might actually hear.
Got it. So let's open this toolbox. What are the main tools or colors Erikson talks about?
Okay, so the system uses 4 colors: red, yellow, green, and blue.
Red, yellow, green, blue. Simple enough.
Pretty intuitive. Now, he stresses that most people are actually a mix, usually of 2 dominant colors.
Right. Nobody's purely one thing.
Exactly, but understanding the pure colors first is like learning the ingredients before you bake the cake. You need the basics.
Makes sense. Learn the primary colors before you mix them.
And interestingly, this whole 4-type idea isn't brand new. It has roots way back.
Oh, yeah. Like how far back?
Like Hippocrates, ancient Greece. He talked about 4 temperaments: choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, melancholic.
Wow. So we've been trying to categorize ourselves for millennia.
Pretty much. And then much later, a psychologist named Marston developed the DISC model in the 20th century. DISC.
And those letters stand for?
Dominance, inspiration, submission, and compliance, or sometimes analytic ability. That really laid the groundwork for Erikson's colors.
Okay, so dominance relates to red, inspiration to yellow.
You got it. Submission to green and compliance analytic to blue. It's a lineage of trying to map behavior.
Fascinating. All right, let's dive into the first color then. Red, the alpha. What's their deal?
Reds are your dominance types. They're task-oriented extroverts.
Extroverts, but focused on the task, not just socializing.
Exactly. They're bold, ambitious, super driven. They make decisions quickly, sometimes very quickly.
Impulsive, me.
Can seem that way.
Yeah.
They're often natural leaders, very competitive. Erikson tells this funny story about his neighbor, Pele.
Yeah.
Pele apparently took up gardening just so he could have a better garden than Erikson. Purely competition.
Ah, that's intense.
Or the CEO who viewed a casual company soccer game as this serious tournament that absolutely had to be won.
No chill.
Pretty much. For Reds, quick is good. They hate inactivity, hate waffling. Like Bjorn, who had an 8-second phone call.
8 seconds.
Asked his question, got the answer, hung up, said there was no further need to talk. Pure efficiency.
Wow. Okay. So driven, fast, competitive. How do other people tend to see reds? Because that sounds like it could rub people the wrong way.
Oh, it definitely can. Reds are often perceived as, well, belligerent, maybe arrogant, certainly impatient, aggressive, controlling.
Yeah, I can see that.
Think about Elizabeth, the executive who confidently stated her company earned $50 million a week.
Okay. Was that true?
Not even close. It was like $2.5 million. But she said it with such certainty, such red energy, that people just believed her.
That's sheer force of will.
Exactly.
Wow.
And their honesty can be brutal, like the colleague who glances at your big project and just says, looks pretty rough, then walks off.
Oof. No filter.
Pretty much none. They want to influence what people do. They often genuinely believe they know best and just want to get things moving.
Okay, so that directness, that drive,
Yeah.
it can easily be misread as aggression or impatience.
Very easily. Their intent might be efficiency, but the impact can feel harsh.
Got it. Let's switch gears. What about yellow? The party starter. That sounds more fun. Inspiration, right?
Oh, totally. Yellows are the inspiration types. They're relationship-oriented extroverts.
So extroverts focused on people, unlike the task-focused reds.
Precisely. They're the optimists, full of enthusiasm, super sociable, persuasive, creative, always curious.
The life of the party, literally.
Absolutely. Erikson talks about his sister, Marita. She apparently can't imagine rain because she's so convinced the sun will come out eventually. Eternal optimist.
That sounds exhausting, but also kind of nice.
Huh. It can be both. They're brilliant at building relationships. They seem to know everyone. Every event is a marvelous party.
Okay, give me another yellow example.
Mike crashed his fancy Alfa Romeo. Totaled it.
Oh, no. Was he okay?
Yeah, perfectly fine. His reaction, it was fine. I just got out the other door, just shrugged it off. That's yellow optimism and resilience.
Wow. Always looking on the bright side, even with a wrecked car.
Huh.
But if they're always that high energy and optimistic, how does that land when things need to get serious?
Yeah.
How are yellows perceived?
Yeah, that's the flip side. While their enthusiasm is infectious, others can see them as Well, talkative. Very talkative.
I can imagine.
Also, maybe careless with details, not great on time management, easily bored once the initial excitement wears off, and sometimes a bit self-centered because they're so caught up in their own ideas and relationships.
Okay, talkative and maybe not great with the follow-through. Any examples?
Yeah, Peter, a sales manager. In a meeting, he apparently talked for 69% of the entire time.
69%.
Yep. And guess how much of the agenda was actually relevant to him?
Uh-oh. Not much.
5.3%.
Wow. Okay. So, loves to talk, maybe not always about the task at hand.
Exactly. And they might forget appointments or show up late and then rationalize it. Like turning a 45-minute delay into, oh, I was just a little over 15 minutes late.
Creative timekeeping. So, their focus is the connection, the buzz, maybe not the boring details.
You nailed it. It's about the people and the excitement.
Okay, so we've got the extroverts, task-driven red, people-driven yellow. Let's move to the introverts, green. The harmonizer, submission category.
Right. Greens are relationship-oriented, like yellows, but introverted.
Introverted and people-focused, how does that work?
They're calm, very composed, incredibly supportive, often selfless. Their absolute top priority is harmony. They hate conflict, will avoid it at all costs.
The peacekeepers.
Totally. Think of Maja, who remembered everyone's birthday, brought cake, organized collections, and when someone told her to maybe take it easy, she was genuinely offended. Helping others was her joy.
Oh, that's sweet.
Or Lhasa, the guy who helps absolutely everyone with their problems, even if it means his own deadline slip. The ultimate team player, sometimes to his own detriment.
Okay, so supportive, conflict-averse team players sounds lovely. How could that possibly be perceived negatively?
Well, because they avoid conflict so much, they can come across as passive or indecisive.
Because they won't state a strong opinion if it might cause ripples.
Exactly. They can also seem resistant to change, because change disrupts the harmony and predictability they crave. And sometimes, believe it or not, they can even seem dishonest.
Dishonest. The nice green. How?
Because of what Erikson calls silent resistance, they might agree to something to avoid an argument, but then just not do it. Or they won't give you a straight no, they'll just become vague or unresponsive.
Passive aggression almost.
It can feel that way. Remember Christopher, the guy locked out of the office in the freezing cold on a Sunday?
Vaguely.
What happened? He called Erikson, but talked about boilers and heating systems for 15 minutes before finally mentioning, oh, by the way, I'm locked out and freezing.
He couldn't just ask for help directly.
Too confrontational. Even asking for help felt like imposing. Or Erikson's mother, who got totally flustered by a minor change in dinner plans, needed extra thinking time just to process it.
Wow, that deep need for stability.
It's huge for Greens. Directness feels threatening.
Okay, so trying to be harmonious can backfire and make you seem indecisive or even sneaky. That's tough. All right, final color. Blue. The perfectionist. Compliance or analytic ability.
Yep. Blues are task-oriented, like reds, but introverted.
Task-focused introverts. Got it.
They are reserved, deeply analytical, logical. They can be almost obsessive about details in their quest for perfection.
The spreadsheet wizards, the instruction manual readers.
Totally. Their homes are often meticulously organized, dinner menus planned weeks ahead, tools have their specific place. They are the ultimate realists.
Meaning they see the flaws.
Everywhere. Errors, risks, potential problems, they jump out at Blues. Erikson's dad, an engineer.
A classic blue profession, maybe.
Seems likely. He'd go to a house viewing and just point out every single flaw. Leaky faucet, crack in the wall, inefficient heating.
Kills the mood a bit, doesn't it?
For some, yeah. Or his friend Hans, who walked into a friend's newly remodeled kitchen and the first thing he noticed was a slightly crooked cupboard door.
Oh, man. Can't unsee it once a blue points it out.
Exactly. They live by the data, the specs, the manual.
Okay, so meticulous, detail-oriented, logical. Sounds valuable, especially for certain jobs. But I'm sensing a perception issue coming.
You sense correctly. While that precision is invaluable, Blues are often perceived by others as pessimistic, maybe hesitant because they need so much data, overly critical, slow to make decisions.
Because they're still analyzing?
Right, and maybe aloof or cold because they're not focused on the social niceties, they're focused on the facts.
Give me an example of that blue need for data.
The CEO who was given like an 85-page project proposal.
Thorough, right. Extremely thorough.
His response, is there more material?
Oh, come on, seriously.
Yep. Needed all the information. Blues will verify everything. Erikson's dad would literally pick up gravel from a driveway to check its quality.
Wow.
Or his friend who'd double-check Excel spreadsheet calculations. with a handheld calculator, just to be absolutely sure.
Trust, but verify.
Yeah.
Especially verify.
That's the blue mantra. Their focus on correctness means they will find the flaw, which can feel negative or hypercritical to others just trying to get something done.
Okay, so we've got the 4 colors laid out. Red, dominant; yellow, inspiring; green, supportive, submissive; blue, analytical, compliant. Now, what do we do with this? How does this help you, the listener, in everyday life?
Right, the practical application. This is where it gets really powerful. The core idea is adaptation.
Adapting our behavior, not trying to change them.
Exactly. Since you can't rewire someone else, the key skill is adjusting your own communication style to match theirs, to speak their language, essentially.
And Erikson says this isn't about being fake or dishonest.
No, not at all. It's about being effective. It's about ensuring your message actually lands, creating understanding. He argues you're probably doing it subconsciously already to some extent.
Like how I talk differently to my boss than to my best friend.
Precisely. This just gives you a more conscious, reliable system for doing it.
Okay, so let's get specific. If I need to communicate with each color, what's the strategy? Let's say talking to a red.
Do a red. Be quick. Be direct. Get straight to the point. Focus only on the business at hand.
No small talk about their vacation.
Absolutely not. They're there to do business, make decisions, move on. Wasting their time is the cardinal sin.
Got it. Quick and direct for reds. What about yellows?
Yellows. Strip away the boring details. Focus on the big picture, the vision, the exciting possibilities. Show personal interest. Be enthusiastic.
So appeal to their optimism and sociability.
Exactly. And if you need a decision, don't ask, what do you think? Ask, how does this feel? Appeal to their intuition and emotion.
Interesting. Okay, how about greens? They seem like they need careful handling.
They do. Be gentle. Provide clear plans, preferably well in advance. They hate surprises. Avoid confrontation like the plague.
So no direct challenges.
Definitely not. Reassure them. Focus on stability, security, how things will stay calm. Understand their need for processing time.
Gentle, patient, predictable for greens. And finally, blues.
Blues. Be prepared. Meticulously prepared. Have your facts, your data, your logic all lined up. Stick to that.
No emotional appeals.
Waste of time for a blue. They want evidence. Show you've done your homework. Show you appreciate quality and accuracy. Details matter immensely.
Okay, that's super helpful. Prepare like crazy for the blue. Now, what about one of the trickiest things? Giving feedback. Especially negative feedback.
Ooh, yeah, the tough stuff. This framework is incredibly useful here. How you deliver criticism needs to be tailored.
Okay, how do you give bad news to a red? Brace for impact.
Pretty much, don't sugarcoat it. Be direct. Use concrete examples of the behavior and its impact. But yeah, be ready for them to push back, argue, maybe even attack.
So what do you do then? Back down.
No, stand your ground. Calmly, but firmly. Erikson had this happen with a sales director. The red tried to turn the feedback back on him. Erikson had to hold firm.
Okay, direct and stand firm with reds. Yellows. How do they take criticism?
Yellows tend to take it very personally. So use an agenda, have concrete examples ready, but anticipate they might get defensive, maybe even play the victim a bit, the martyr complex Erikson mentioned.
Like, why is everyone picking on me?
Kind of. Erikson had to explicitly tell his friend Jan, I'm giving you this feedback because I'm your friend, not because I'm not, when telling him he talked too much. You have to separate the feedback from the relationship.
Reassure the relationship while delivering the critique. Tricky. Greens. They hate conflict, so how do you give them negative feedback?
Very gently, very concretely. Focus on the behavior, not the person, but understand because they hate conflict, they might just shut down.
They won't argue back like a red.
Probably not. They might seem unresponsive or just internalize it deeply without showing much outward reaction. It's hard to know if it's landing sometimes.
Okay, gentle, concrete, and watch for the shutdown. And blues? Feedback for the perfectionist.
Facts. Facts, facts. Stick strictly to data and evidence. Written feedback is often best so they can analyze it.
And definitely don't do the compliment sandwich.
Oh, absolutely not. They'll see right through that praise, criticism, praise thing in a second. It'll undermine your credibility. Just give the facts.
And be prepared for.
Questions. Endless questions. They'll want to dissect your feedback, challenge your data, ask for more details. Be ready for that analytical deep dive.
Wow. Okay, so the how is crucial. This also makes me think about teams. You mentioned most people are a mix, but in a group, how do these colors interact? Erikson says the ideal team has all colors.
Yeah, he argues that diversity is strength, but some combinations definitely gel more easily than others.
Like what? What are the natural pairings?
Well, you often see blue-green combinations working well together. They share that calmer, reflective approach, focusing on details and stability.
Okay, the introverts pairing up.
And then red-yellow often click, both extroverted, focused on action, getting things started, though for different reasons. Fast-paced energy.
The action-oriented pair. What about complementary pairs? Opposites attracting.
Absolutely. Think red-blue. The red is the accelerator, the blue is the brake. Can be very effective if they respect each other drive, combined with quality control.
Speed and accuracy.
Nice. Or green-yellow. The green is the listener, the yellow is the talker. The green provides the supportive foundation, the yellow brings the enthusiasm and ideas.
Support and energy. But what about the really tricky combinations? Where do the sparks fly? In a bad way.
Erikson points to red-green as potentially difficult. The red's directness can feel brutal to the conflict-avoidant green. The green's perceived slowness or indecisiveness can infuriate the red.
Opposing needs clashing.
Exactly. And yellow-blue can also be tough. The yellow's focus on big picture and feeling can clash with the blue's need for facts, details, and process. One's all vision, the other's all execution detail.
Fascinating dynamics. And you mentioned stress earlier. How does that play out with the colors? Do they react differently under pressure?
Hugely differently. Knowing this is key for managing teams. Reds under stress. They tend to get tougher, more demanding, maybe even more aggressive.
Doubling down on the redness.
Exactly. Yellows. They can become sulky, disorganized, lose their optimism, get scattered.
The party stops.
Yep. Greens under stress often become even more passive, non-committal. Withdrawn. They shut down.
Silent resistance goes into overdrive.
Pretty much. And blues. They tend to become hyper-pessimistic, overly pedantic, drowning in negative details, maybe withdrawing into analysis paralysis.
Finding fault with everything.
Right. So understanding these stress reactions helps you, not push the wrong buttons and support people appropriately when things get tough.
That company party story Erikson tells is hilarious, though, about the alcohol-flipping personalities.
Oh, it's brilliant. The sober yellows getting moody, the normally reserved blue credit manager dancing on tables telling jokes.
And the poor red boss getting confronted by his suddenly emboldened green administrators and literally running away.
It perfectly shows how deep these patterns run. Even when something like alcohol temporarily scrambles the surface, people tend to snap back to their core type pretty quickly, maybe with a headache.
Huh. For sure. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've gone through the 4 colors: red, yellow, green, blue, looked at their core traits, how others see them, and crucially, some real practical ways to adapt our communication.
And the big takeaway really isn't about sticking labels on people, is it? It's about recognizing these patterns in others and in ourselves.
Right. Self-awareness seems huge here.
Absolutely. Recognizing patterns helps you build understanding, hopefully reduce some conflict, and just make interactions smoother, whether it's at work or, at home.
It really feels like it could enhance basically every area of life.
Erikson definitely argues that. He says, look, you can try to just be yourself 100% of the time, unfiltered. There's a certain integrity to that.
Yeah.
But don't be surprised if you don't connect with everyone or if you constantly feel misunderstood or frustrated. Adaptation is the key to broader connection.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe something for you listeners to chew on. Erikson really pushes self-awareness. So think about your own life, especially the really close relationships, your partner, best friends, family.
The people you interact with most deeply.
Yeah. Do you tend to surround yourself with people who are basically your mirror image, your same color? Or are you drawn to your opposite?
That's a really interesting question to reflect on. Your default setting.
And maybe more importantly, how might consciously applying some of these ideas, just making one small shift in how you ask a question or how you give feedback to someone close to you, how might that change those important dynamics one conversation at a time?
Yeah. Small changes, big impact potentially. Food for thought.